I think about this like when like Anna Nicole Smith put in that time with that really old man. If you figured that out, you deserve every penny.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly. What's up, everybody? I'm Julia Loken.
I'm Stevie Goldstein.
I'm Lisa Chanou.
And we're What's Your Sign, a comedy astrology podcast for lovers and haters. And today we are breaking down the astrology of riches. So light a candle, charge your crystals, pull a tarot card. We're about to go in the stars with What's Your Sign and riches. We love a family drama, a gorgeous family drama, intrigue, empire, makeup, beauty products, British accents. This show really does have it all. I can't get enough.
Spicy, saucy, drama. I mean, just fighting over inheritances is always just great. You know, it just brings out the worst qualities in people. So I love to see that, especially in astrology, because there's parts in our chart that talk about this stuff. The 8th house we can look at for inheritances and other people's money and investors and stuff like that. So if you love the businessy end of astrology, you know, look into your 8th house and look into where you could maybe scam some people for some money.
And there's so much mystery too, which I think often also falls in the 8th house where, you know, maybe we uncover one thing. The next episode, there's going to be another thing that we're going to have to uncover. I was suckered in at the British accent, but what can I say?
Let's dive in. Simon says,
"This is awkward."
Hey, Sai.
I think Simon's a Libra. I think he's very emotionally mature. He's balanced, even keeled, often talking sense into Nina a little bit. He convinces Nina to go to their father's funeral by telling her she needs the closure, and also seems to be kind of put in this position of family peacekeeper between Nina, his mom, and himself. And I think Libra often, though it's not necessarily something they want, they often get put into that role of being the peacekeeper. Also, Venus is the ruler of the sign Libra, and Venus is all about beauty and art and aesthetic, being a stylist, and also with the whole Flair Glory thing, I think Libra totally tracks here. Thinking maybe he has a Scorpio moon. Scorpio, as Stevie said before, it's about shared resources, other people's stuff, inheritance, taxes, etc. He also calls at one point the company a poisoned chalice. I feel like that's very Scorpio, especially just poison, I feel like is very Scorpio. I think he has a Taurus rising. Taurus is also ruled by Venus, so beauty stuff. And I think he's just so smart and capable that there has to be some kind of earth here. You don't see anyone getting one over on Simon. I think altogether the big three, Libra Sun, Scorpio Moon, Taurus Rising, the quote that kind of crystallized it for me was, it was a shit show, but kind of fabulous.
I think Libra is so on. I mean, I think being a stylist, of course, is aesthetics and knowing it, but also having social skills and having a social battery. And Libras tend to have both a great eye for looks and then also the ability to be around a lot of people. I'm so torn on the moon because, like, I could see some air with maybe like Gemini. He's so like funny, but he's not like, I don't know. He's also so reliable too. Like Simon is a little bit contradicting energy a bit. Like he talks about wanting to go home and getting his life back. I will go Sag Sun. I'm gonna go like a Libra rising, and I'm open on the moon, maybe a Gemini, maybe a Taurus. I like Sag because they do represent internationalness and international affairs and cross country. He's signing up him and Nina on this adventure, but he's not in charge, right? And Sagittarius and Libra together does feel like that taxes quote, like, don't talk to me about taxes. It's just like, we want to get this adventure and this business and this new journey going, but I don't put me like maybe in charge so much, but I'll get the excitement going. And even I think he said like, I'm not an office kind of guy, which is like, yeah, don't put a Sag or Libra in those types of positions, please. So I don't know. I like love Simon, and I think too with Sagittarius, with Jupiter, they have that luck on their side, and it seems like he's pushing Nina towards her luck or something rewarding, even though there's obviously tons of strings attached, which is where we go into Scorpio and 8th house, because it's never just as simple as here's this gift.
I knew that Simon was a Sag Sun to me when he ended a conflict by just popping a bottle of champagne. And Sagittarius is a real party sign, and they know that like the quickest way to, you know, smooth things over is to get people having a good time together. And I am a Sagittarius Sun, Libra rising, and you should also not talk to me about taxes or anything of the sort. But I think that I really like the Sagittarius Sun and the Libra rising. I think that that's a very kind of like bubbly social combination, but I think that that Libra rising also gives some tact and diplomacy and, you know, an ability to say anything. Sagittarius is known for kind of being outrageous. And I think that Simon is able to kind of say whatever he wants because it's measured, but it's also vulnerable and kind of what the moment calls for. He also has that mutability where he's the go-between everyone in his family. He's talking to mom, he's talking to Nina, he even can kind of step in and do some of these business dealings, and he knows kind of what to hold back and what to share. I'm torn with moon as well. At first I said Cancer, but I also really like this Taurus moon idea because I do think that he does have some earthiness and some groundedness. Having a Libra rising would put that Cancer moon in the 10th house, and I think that he is drawn towards family. He has the IVF plan. He also is there to show up for his siblings and kind of achieve, not necessarily as part of his father's family business, but for himself in a way that I think would be supporting his family and to be like making them proud. But I also like Taurus moon because it would be in the 8th house and having that kind of shared inheritance, secrets, having all of that and kind of having to hold that, especially because, you know, he brings up that he never really had a relationship with his father. And so I think a lot of this inheritance and kind of secret stuff is a little bit more of things that he had to bear for himself instead of kind of share. And that feels Taurus moon, but also again, that kind of like, he's so supportive and dependable and level-headed that also gives me Earth moon vibes, but I can go either way.
Yeah, I love when he like clocks Claudia right away. Because at first you're like, oh no, is he about to like spill all this like tea and like succumb to her? And I was like, oh no, there was an earth sign that like pushed back immediately. It was like, I know what you're doing and I'm not doing it.
Well, speaking of Claudia,
oh my god,
talk about her.
You have one little girl. You hear me? I will drag you to court and get what's mine. Not like your mother. I won't take this lying down.
Man, I'm so sorry to do this because I think she's a Taurus and I'm also a Taurus. She's a little bit belittling, which I think is a habit that Tauruses have that they don't necessarily realize that they have. She throws around little girl and things like that. And she says, I'm not like your mother. I won't take this lying down. And it's like, whoa, you didn't have to go bring my mom into this, you know? It's also all about like getting what's ours to her. You know, it's everything for my children. No one's taking that away from them. It's their inheritance. And Taurus is this very my stuff sign. It's not the best sign for sharing. It doesn't mean that all Tauruses are bad at it. It's just they're very aware of the score because, as we said before, you know, having those personal planets nearby, maybe she has some Aries placements. She kind of goes on the warpath at points. She does kind of view this as like battle. Also, at one point, Andre tells her, you know, do you ever think about anyone but yourself? And I think, you know, as someone who's right on the cusp of Aries and Taurus, I feel like that's very like a mesh of those two signs together. I'll give her a Scorpio moon. I feel like she's investigating, she's trying to dig, she's trying to be shady, but it's not complete. And I feel like that to me is that opposition working. Taurus and Scorpio are opposite signs. So I feel like, you know, we see her acting from this maybe more emotional place. Sometimes that's why maybe her plans don't seem to go so well. I'm not sure about the rising. I guess so I'm thinking maybe Leo, especially because Flair and Glory is about, you know, hair and beauty and aesthetics. Oftentimes Leo risings have like big hair, and so I don't know, maybe that is Leo fixed sign stuff. In episode 2, she can't just be quiet to get the things she wants, and then as soon as it gets taken from her, she's like, I don't deserve this. Again, this puts her sun and moon in opposition, so even when she tries to make a play, she can't seem to understand that she's being obvious. It's kind of that trying to do both things at once. I think there's a lot of tension here, and I see it as fixed tension.
She's a Leo. Like, she must be a Leo. She's so high drama. Leo rules like acting and expressiveness, and like also when they're moms, They are den mother, so protective. They are like, take a Leo, times it by 1100. And I think it comes off really with that protectiveness. And I think sometimes we can see that with like Cancer placements of like my people and like this is my family and like no outsiders. But I think Leo can do that too when they really want to protect her family and be really territorial. Like think of the lion, right? They're like, no, you're not fucking with my cubs. They've been here this whole time. Why are these random kids coming in? I wouldn't be shocked if she had a Taurus moon too. So like, I'm here for the self-read. You know, Taurus is ruled by the throat and she can't help herself. She just says what she wants to say. And again, I find her a bit goals. Like, yeah, don't work and get that allowance. Like, work that system. And I think where, again, I don't think she has like the calculated smartness of a Scorpio, because Scorpio would wait till the contract was signed, then say whatever they want to say. That's why I think she might be a rising. I think she's still learning the journey of embracing her Scorpio qualities just because she's shady. I mean, changing the funeral time, like, and then what their like henchmen people, like, just whatever it takes to get me the results. Don't talk to me until you have more shares. Like, you know, she's not subtle. I agree on the super fixedness, and being multiple fixed signs would bring a lot of squares in your chart, which is tension. And when we don't recognize the tension, people see it in us. So like, she's not subtle. She's not low key. She's the highest key possible, key change, new octave. Like, she is just so loud and proud, and like, I mean, great character. Need her on the show. Obsessed with Claudia. Even just her name, like Claudia, she just exudes such like Leo fabulousness.
I agree. I'm here for the Taurus moon. I'm here for a Leo rising. I get, though, Cancer sun. Cancers get a reputation for being like a crybaby and sweet and really like nurturing, but Cancer is also cutthroat as okay? Cancer is a cardinal sign, and they, you know, it's ruled by the crab, so they sometimes are moving sideways, changing the funeral time, secret family meetings, backdoor dealings, but they go after what they want. They're cardinal. They aren't afraid of starting things. That can be drama, that can be their own kind of initiatives, and they protect themselves. They are very family oriented and protective in that way too, but I think that they also, you know, they have a shell. They are defensive and they are holding on to what's theirs, and I think that it's like, yeah, you can pry my lifestyle out of my cold dead claws. And that Leo rising would give her a 12th house sun, and I think that she is very in charge, but she's not doing the dealings. She's like looking fabulous, kind of staying out of it, keeping it at arm's length, and that to me is very like, I'm the face, the hair, the beauty of the brand, but I'm not necessarily in there, and that's like 12th house sun. Also, Flair Glory, which is like very Leo to me. Founder Stephen Richards, we see his birth date on his gravestone, and he is a Leo, which is what I thought at first. And I love a classic power couple, Cancer, Leo. And then that Taurus moon, I think for all the reasons said, but she, you know, for her, I think comfort is key and keeping what's hers. That Taurus moon would be up in the 10th house too. And so I think like staying in a lifestyle and in a way of being that is both like fabulous and out there for everyone to see, and is also like on her terms. And that fixed stuff, again, she is who she is, and there's that like, I don't know, comfortable being who she is a very Taurus moon thing to me, and I think that's why she can be so bad. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Look, she's representing for the kept women, for the stay-at-home girlfriends on TikTok. You know, she's like living, but it's weird because she still like presents as like, I'm doing business, or I like still get dressed up and I like show face, but no, she's just there for the cash, which we respect. I love Claudia.
And her family. I mean, she is, again,
and the fam.
I don't want to say all of these things. She obviously, like Lisa said, when the paternity stuff comes up, she's protecting her family. She wants them to get what's theirs. She is sus of these new people coming in. You know, is that projection? Sure. But also she does want them to be taken care of, and recognizes that she has put in, if not emotional, you know, whatever, she has put in labor in this place, and she does want what's hers, what she feels is hers.
I don't really know that she has put in that much effort. I think she has, like, maybe from an emotional standpoint and a family standpoint, and she wants to reap the rewards and keep her children like in their furs, so to speak.
And look, it's like, I think about this like when like Anna Nicole Smith put in that time with that really old man. You know what? If you figured that out, you deserve every penny.
Yeah, totally.
Well, on to the real CEO, the real boss. Let's talk about Nina.
Say it again. Say it again.
Miss Nina Richards. I just hear hooves. I hear Capricorn hooves coming just right in the beginning, you know. She said, I'm the CEO, I'm the boss, and that's how we move forward. Also in episode 1, she's described as having closed the largest merchandising deal in the company's history. So I'm going to go Capricorn rising, because the thing she says next is that she says it's a team effort. That I don't think a Capricorn sun would necessarily say. Capricorn's also the father of the zodiac. This series surrounds her relationship or lack of relationship to her father. She calls her father a glorified sperm donor. But this is all the way she appears. You know, we do see at some points her staying up late, looking at old photos, thinking back on childhood memories with her mom. And I'm gonna say Cancer moon. She at one point says she's just not getting sucked into this in episode 2. That is what we like to call famous last words. This puts her moon in opposition to her rising. And similar to Simon, I like to think that it's in the 8th house, which is also about inheritance. I am going to give her a Scorpio sun. She launches right into investigation mode right as soon as her father dies. Cryptic messages, you know, last words over the phone, inheritance, all the Scorpio stuff. She does at one point say this is our birthright. I feel like that's very Scorpio. I know that if I was her father, you know, and I thought someone was out to get me or hurt my company, I would call my Scorpio friends, because they are going to investigate, they're going to unearth, they're going to dig, or they're going to die trying. And I feel like that's very Nina Richards.
I think too with Capricorn, since they get a lot of rep for like business and work, but I think they just can really step up when it's time to step up and represent authority too. And I think since she's the oldest child and she steps up to the plate, you know, has a really Capricorn sensibility. And I like what you said too, Lisa, about Capricorns sort of representing paternal or father-like figures. And she's stepping in to be her dad, but it's also to sort of like represent for her mom, which I think is like a very sweet reparenting. Like I'm doing, like truly doing it for her mama. And because, you know, Claudia is such a nightmare. Look, she might want to think that she's like unemotional from things or sort of detached, or, you know, she's going to do this for her mom. But I think she just runs on spite, and that's very Leo as well. I could see that too, that every time Claudia, if Claudia is a Leo, kind of digs at Nina, it just gasses her up even more to go like, no. And that's why, I mean, I love how Nina can just sort of like step to people, but like, say that again. Like, yeah, you wouldn't, you know, like just reflecting back to people how dumb and petty they are. When I'm torn on a moon sign, that usually points me to Aquarius, because that's a very eccentric, kind of unusual moon sign. It's a little more cerebral. Or maybe Virgo too. You know, I think that quote of like sharing a bed is too intimate when she's like, you know, with her hookup early on. And I think with Virgo too, there's so much about preservation and self-care, and their Mercury ruled too. So I could see that also being a level of her curiosity. I think all those placements combined with Capricorn, with Leo and Virgo, just want to do everything and do it right, so they can just stand there and say, I told you so, to everyone that has just been so much noise and nonsense all around her.
I am gonna go Leo moon, because I definitely think that there's Leo there. That to me gives a little bit of a family connection, thinking of the lineage with her father being a Leo sun and kind of having that energy, even though she might not be aware of it, kind of having it internally. And then I think it gives her that heart, it gives her that consistency and that thing that people kind of want to gather around and center around. And I think that Capricorn sun, Leo moon, Capricorn Leo combination is like pure CEO to me. It also though means that she can kind of get tripped up a little sometimes in her pride. We don't see a ton of, but you can tell that there's a stubbornness there, and it is like an unwillingness to ask for help. I think that there is some repression that happens with a Leo moon too, where it's like it takes a while to get consistent in a thing, and so they are gonna maybe be like, oh, that doesn't get to me, but it does, because, you know, we're people. And I think Scorpio rising, she's a cool customer. I mean, she pulls off like 3 double crosses in this season, and I think that you have to be cool to be able to like set someone up for fraud and then also not let them know that that's what you're doing, you know? And then also like fool everybody else too. That's very Scorpio rising to me. And that would also put that Leo moon of hers in the 10th house. Again, that like drive to be seen, that drive to achieve and really like make something of yourself, of your family. I know Leo doesn't necessarily have that like typical association, but like Stevie said with a Leo mom, I think again, it's just like that pride and that like ownership of what's yours in your life and how that kind of spreads out to people is very Nina to me.
There's Leo here. I mean, the lion's mane, Flair Glory. I mean, that just sounds so Leo, the hair, everything.
And I mean, also the business fits, the looks, you know, she is serving CEO on top of truly being CEO. The Nina lookbook.
That's been our breakdown of riches. Let us know in the comments if you agree with our astrological assessments. What signs do you think these characters are? Let us know in the comments. Sound off.
If you like this, watch more of our In the Stars on other Prime shows on Prime's YouTube channel. And if you love astrology and you love us, then listen to our podcast, What's Your Sign? We're available wherever you get your podcasts with new episodes every week.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let us know which Amazon Prime shows you want us to break down. All of your favorite characters.
That's all for us. We'll see you next time in the stars.